So our reading today is from Leviticus 23, 33 through 43. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to the Israelites, saying, on the 15th day of this 7th month, and lasting 7 days, there shall be the festival of booths to the Lord. The first day shall be a holy convocation. You shall not work at your occupations. 7 days you shall present the Lord's offerings by fire. On the 8th day you shall observe a holy convocation and present the Lord's offerings by fire. It is a solemn assembly. You shall not work at your occupations. These are the appointed festivals of the Lord that you shall celebrate at times of holy convocation, for presenting to the Lord offerings by fire, burnt offerings and grain offerings, sacrifices and drink offerings, each on its proper day, apart from the Sabbaths of the Lord, and apart from your gifts, and apart from all your votive offerings, and apart from all your free will offerings that you give to the Lord. Now on the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the produce of the land, you shall keep the festival of the Lord, lasting 7 days, a complete rest on the first day, and a complete rest on the 8th day. On the first day you shall take the fruit of the majestic trees, branches of palm trees, boughs of leafy trees, and willows of the brook, and you shall rejoice before the Lord your God for 7 days. You shall keep it as a festival to the Lord, lasting 7 days in the year. You shall keep it in the 7th month as a statute forever throughout your generations. You shall live in booths for 7 days. All who are native born in Israel shall live in booths, so that your generations may know that I made the Israelites live in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. In Deuteronomy 16, 13, 15. You shall keep the festival of booths for 7 days. When you have gathered in the produce from your threshing floor and your winepress, rejoice during your festival, you and your sons and your daughters, your male and female slaves, as well as the Levites, the strangers, the orphans, and the widows resident in your towns. 7 days you shall keep the festival to the Lord your God at the place that the Lord will choose. For the Lord your God will bless you in all your produce and all your undertakings, and you shall surely celebrate. 3 times a year, all your males shall appear before the Lord your God at the place that he will choose, at the festival of the unleavened bread, at the festival of weeks, and at the festival of booths. They shall not appear before the Lord empty-handed. All shall give as they are able, according to the blessing of the Lord your God that he has given you.
This set of scriptures describes the Festival of the Tabernacles, or the Jewish festival of Sukkot. Sukkot is one of 3 major holidays where families are supposed to make offerings based on what food they produced in the last year. This was, and is, a big deal in more agrarian societies, such as in ancient and modern Israel. But the symbolism is still important to learn from and remember. Sukkot comes 5 days after the major holiday of Yom Kippur, the Jewish holiday of atonement. Yom Kippur is a fasting holiday whereby Jewish people ask forgiveness for anything they have done wrong in the last year, both from God and other people. This helps clear the slate, so to speak, so they can start the year in a good way. Sukkot, in balance, is a feasting holiday where people eat communally and rejoice in the bounty of God's goodness. They eat lots of fresh food for the 7 days, and part of the ceremony is building temporary structures in the backyard or balconies to live in for the duration of Sukkot, to remind them of being nomadic during their time in the desert with Moses. One of the major tenets of the Jewish faith is that everything is on loan from God, from our souls to the resources that we have to the earth itself. As a result, that paradigm makes it way easier to take care of each other, share resources, and work together to make the world a better place. It's a lot harder to hoard stuff if you're just filled with gratitude for the things that God has given you. And it helps you to let go of the reins, so to speak, if you understand that the transient nature of life itself. Modern society does not like being reminded of the transient nature of life, or that we don't really have any control over what happens to us in this life. Hence the proliferation of conspiracy theories in the last few years. Our society is built on everyone striving to accumulate as much wealth and power as they can, and as a result, we're destroying our earthly home simply from overconsumption. We all have this unconscious bias towards the accumulation of stuff and wealth and power just by living in America today. So the sooner we acknowledge this bias and that sliver of greed or insecurity, be what it may, in ourselves, the sooner we can deal with the bigger issues. Over the generations, modern society has decided that keeping up with the Joneses has taken precedence over taking care of each other. Being so concerned about what other people think of us that we lose sight of the whole point of being here on this earth to begin with. So over the last few months, we've been listening to sermons about peace in all its forms. This part of the series is often when we talk about symptoms of climate change and how we can do better with using less plastic or being more careful with our resources. And don't get me wrong, those are great things. Good on us for talking about them and working to do better as a church. But it goes deeper than that. There's a toxic theology that has been around for quite a long time, that the earth is here to dominate and exploit for our benefit, instead of seeing ourselves as partners with the world. We see ourselves as the top of the hierarchy. And that hierarchical thinking can often lead to bigotry in all its forms, because we often put ourselves at the top. This often leads us to abuse the world that we live in because we think we have been given carte blanche freedom to do so. And that's not the case. Not in the least. Like Jeanette said last week, part of the blessing of being human is that you also have the responsibility to take care of your home, your community, and your people. The world is an incredible, beautiful place, full of incredible, beautiful people that God loves, including you. So how would seeing ourselves as part of the world change the paradigm that we live in? So fear of others or the worldly things are often used as controlling aspects in some churches. This is a toxic theology that unfortunately is pretty effective in some populations. But Jesus didn't come to condemn the world. He came to save it. We've been called to reflect the light of Christ, not in the sanctimonious way of us being more in the right than other people. God's big. There's no way that we're going to be right 100% of the time with everything to do with him. That's just not possible. What steps can we take to share our bounty of God's blessings? And what can we learn from other groups about earth care to reflect the light of God? This is holy work, friends. Let's get to it.